is deeply unsettling?
Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are, and that's why we like you. Real quick, let's talk about, we're drinking today Jack Daniel's 14 year. We're excited about that. I am very excited about that. I gotta lift my chair up a bit. Yeah, we got a bottle, and by we I mean Brian. After much hard work,
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I put in more hard work than you did this time around. But maybe I'm wrong because I
You
don't know.
it
But I
sounds
was
like you
going
went a lot.
so much to the ABC store, and I was lucky enough to get a Jack Daniel's 10 year, but there was no 14 that showed up to my store. But maybe there will be. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll change. Maybe this week will be a lucky week.
Yeah,
That'd be
because
cool.
you
But
don't
anyway,
know that they didn't.
yes, no. I know that they did not get it.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I was one of the first people to show up, and I asked them, "Hey, has anything run out yet?" And they said, "Nope, not yet."
Nice.
So yeah, so I got the best bottle I could get. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be drinking that. We're gonna be reviewing that and talking about history and all that stuff. You know, the standard episode. But let's talk about some business. I thought of a good one this week, and I remember it too. Comment on Instagram. That's cool.
Ah,
We dig that too. Like we always love comments on YouTube. Please keep them up. We've been loving the organic comments on
Yeah.
YouTube. But another way you can support us is by commenting on our Instagram posts. Like we don't expect much, but like we love it when you guys post on Instagram, or even just reach out by message or something like that. But we love that kind of stuff. So that's a way you can support the podcast this week. Otherwise, that's the business. Brian, do tell. What's new?
What's new? What's new? Bud, aka Kitty Boy, aka Lupin, he's not doing so hot, man.
Oh, I love Lupin.
Yeah,
He's my favorite.
I know he's pretty cool, but
You're about to
he
say he's my favorite too. But I don't want to take
maybe
favorites.
no. The other cats might listen to this someday.
Yeah,
Cole.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyway, he lost a bunch of weight, and like we
Oh,
kind of, for a while, it was just, yeah, he's just getting old. He's just an old man cat. He's losing a little weight, no big deal. But then finally got to the point where it was like, this doesn't appear to be stopping. And so we took him to the vet, and he went from 13 pounds down to 7 in the last like two or 3 months.
Little kitty.
Yeah. So I took him to an ultrasound today to see, if there's any like cancerous masses in there or anything, and I'll get the results in a couple of days, but I'm definitely expecting bad news. This dude is like 14 years plus.
14. So, that's why he's so gray.
Right. He's always been that great.
Yes.
Anyway, he's had a nice long life, and I don't, I tell you, okay, so we'll get a little personal, I guess.
Yeah. Do it.
The like my personal willingness to shell out to extend the life of a pet that's not doing so hot is pretty low.
Yeah.
And it might just be, like I grew up with lots of animals. I grew up on my dad's hobby farm in Kansas. We had cows and horses and chickens and everything. Not a lot, but like 12
but
cows.
Enough to have cows and chickens and horses.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. A totally average amount of cows and chickens and horses for a millennial. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, I'm kind of used to the circle of life, if you will.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how this plays out. The news could go either way. They could come back and say there's no cancer. I don't know. Or maybe it's lymphoma or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Maybe he's just, working on his belly or something like that. Like
he's been on a Hollywood miracle diet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe the other cats are feeding him something that he shouldn't feed, and be like, "Hey, other cats, back it up." I am sorry to hear that, dude. That is hard. Have you like on the farm and all that? Have you ever lost one that you like really remember well? Like you're like, that was a hard one.
Well, so like I hadn't been nothing that's been like super influential like on my life. I know of many dogs that came and went, but
Oh,
none that like wrecked me, and none that I, you know, participated in the burial of or anything, you know, like, because it was all, everything was very motivated by my dad and animals that he wanted, and so they were all, you know, his pets. Even the cows were his pets, essentially. So yeah, this'll definitely be like the hardest pet loss I've ever had. Easily. Yeah.
So he's 14. And you haven't even been married that long. Did you get him at later age, or did Sam or you pick him up before you guys got married?
So I always had 2 cats before Sam. I had Tonks and Lupin. And yeah, Tonks and Lupin. Yeah, for a while there, she was on steroids and she chubbed up, and we called her Chunky Tonky.
Nice.
Anyway,
Tonk bar, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I had Tonks and Lupin, and Sam had her own cat named Milani, and we had both. We had all of them individually since they were 6 months old. Like Sam got Milani when Milani was 6 months old.
That makes it so much sadder. You've had little Lupin since he was a little kitty.
Yeah, they were malnourished little babies when I picked them up. And when I look at like photos of the day that I got them, like they're just the teeniest, tiniest little skin and bones cats. So anyway, they and that was in 2011, and Sam and I met in 2013. So we each had our own respective cats for 2 years before we even met each other.
I've never had an animal die on me.
Well, so you don't have any pets right now at all?
No, currently I don't, and I really want to, but Heather is holding off for now. I grew up with a greyhound, and when I went to college, my parents moved to Colorado. So I grew up in Philadelphia. They moved out to Colorado. I remember the last time I saw my dog. His name was Rim. That was his track name. He was a greyhound.
Nice.
And I missed that dog. That dog was a great dog. But when I moved, my parents actually found another home for him instead of moving him to Colorado. And so that was hard, but it wasn't like, you know, death of a pet or anything like that. But I can imagine that would be hard, especially when you've had him for like 14 basically years.
I know.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
So what are you gonna have to? That's okay. What are you gonna have to do to Heather to convince her to get a pet?
Bro, that is the question. So like I am like a diehard dog fan, but I'm not a die. So okay, let me back that up. I like certain types of dogs with all my heart. I don't like certain types of dogs at all. I have this weird thing with dogs. I don't like curly-haired dogs. So if you bring me a poodle variant, I'm just not interested. But if you bring me a short-haired, skinny dog, especially, there's other dogs. Like I can enjoy retriever, you know, a lab type dog, but there's something about curly-haired dogs and a few other flavors that I am not like super, like I'm just, it just doesn't get me into the dog spirit. But like if you get me like anything from like a Chihuahua to a pit bull to a greyhound, I am like, dude, I love you. Like I love this dog, and like get to the, you know, I just need that kind of love. I went to a therapist once, and they're like, you need to get a dog because you enjoy feeling, what was the way they phrased it? You enjoy feeling invited
like a caregiver?
in.
Oh, okay.
No, like one of the best things about dogs for me is like when I come home and they're just stoked to see me. And I'm like, dude, I'm stoked to see you too. I've been looking forward to seeing you since I hopped in the car. And and the cool thing about greyhounds, which I grew up with the one that I was mentioning, and they're really low maintenance, believe it or not. Like especially for a large breed, they are really low maintenance. Like you don't even need to take them on walks every day. They will eat it up. They will love every moment of a walk, but they don't need much exercise. Like usually they say, like if you have a fenced in backyard, the exercise they get from finding a place to go potty is enough for them for the whole day, basically. Every time you put them outside, and they'll expend energy when they want to. But they're basically cheetahs, which are basically cats, where they can expend energy really quick, and then they just want to nap for the rest of they're just napping dogs. They're basically known as like the large breed cats.
Nice.
So, and I
That's
like
cool.
that. I like low maintenance dogs, but that are also stoked to see me. So the question you asked was, what will it take? And the answer is 1, Beck needs to stop being so scared of dogs for no reason. Well, it's not for no reason. My mother-in-law's dog is a doofus.
Oh.
Doesn't have a violent or aggressive bone in his body, but he's a doofus, and he's huge. He's 140 pounds. He's a lab German Shepherd mix, and he's like such a doofus, and like just gets way too excited, gets up in people's faces, and that's the hard thing, is that like that dog scarred my daughter, which I never liked that dog to begin with, because he's such a doofus and such just like, dude, chill out. Like, and like, let me give you a story about why I don't like this dog. He can't go to the bathroom on his own because he was overtrained to go to the bathroom.
Overtrained. Interesting.
So yeah, it's like overfitting a curve in like mathematics. It's like you did it too much, and that he only got used to going to the bathroom while his mama or his human was there,
was
with
also going to the bathroom next to him.
So now he assumes that potty goes with someone standing next to me. So he was overtrained.
I knew it.
Yeah, and so like that's the type of dog he is. It's just like, it's like he requires so much people because he was truly coddled too much, is really what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's like very annoying in that way. But he ruined it for my daughter, so I hate him even more. I don't hate him. I just really don't like this dog.
Right.
But I don't say that to my mother-in-law anymore, because it hurts her feelings. So anyway,
sounds like you definitely don't need a cat, because sometimes I get home and like 10 minutes later I'm like I'm pretty sure we have cats. I'm pretty sure there are cats around here somewhere.
That's what. So like I just need the low maintenance of a cat with the excited loyalty of a dog. So
we
need to train Beck and not overtrain Beck. We need to help Beck to not be afraid of dogs. And then I think the girl's got to be at least 4 or 5 years old before we get a dog, to be honest. So both of them.
How old is
Beck's
now?
turning 4 in June. So I just need to like start getting her on my team, Beck, and like being like, dogs are the best, and like start like building up this like excitement for a dog. And then I'm just gonna do it one day, because Heather's been a stick in the mud for a long time, and I love my wife, but I need a dog. But we also need to get like a fence. It's really helpful to have a fence for a sight hound, which is like a greyhound breed type. And so anyway, that's that.
Well, there's something that I've been waiting to hear from you. 2 things, actually. You had a daddy-daughter date not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know what you did on that. And then 2, you went camping recently.
Yeah. So daddy-daughter date was awesome. Beck and I went to Dave & Buster's. Wasn't as cool as you think it'd be for a 3.5-year-old. It was like, she was overwhelmed to some, like she wasn't like overwhelmed like I can't do this, but she was just like, I don't even know what to choose for like games to play, because they're all so new, and they're also like there's a learning curve to each one of them. And like when you turn like 7, you're ready for that kind of stuff, like Dave & Buster's, like all the games and stuff. But like when you're 3.5, it's like, I don't know, what do you want to do, Daddy? And I'm like, oh, let's try this. And there were a few games that she really liked. But they were like using up the points pretty quick, and we won a few candies at the redemption area of like points and all that stuff. So we got some candies. We went to, you ever heard of Dave's Hot Chicken? It's like a chain.
I have somehow. I'm not sure why, because they're not here, but I've heard of that.
Yeah, they just got one in Richmond area, so we went there, and it was just great. I love my daughter. I love spending time with her, and it's like a
Nice.
treat to be because like one of my love languages is like quality time, and
Yeah.
and I'm really good at planning quality time, to be honest.
Mhm.
So I find that it works out well to like take my daughter out and like and yeah, and Heather and I actually recently made a decision that we're going to do more date nights, which is dope for me too because I like that quality time with my wife.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we went camping 2 weeks ago or so with some of my college buddies, just two of them. And so
Mhm.
one of the goals I had for that camping weekend was like, all right, just like take some time to like detach from like the world and like unplug basically.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was is like, yeah, I did unplug for the most part, but I didn't get as much time to do so as I'd hoped. But
Mhm.
also like it was always busy, like because me and my friends were always like either making food or walking around and talking or just like we didn't really get time to like relax,
Just
which
chill.
was
Yeah.
good. Yeah, like just chill and like enjoy the fact that we don't have our phones or enjoy,
Yeah.
like, and it's not that we didn't get that, it's just we didn't get enough of that. So I loved every moment, but I didn't have that, like the goal I had of like unplugging wasn't as fulfilled as I'd hoped it would be, but it was still great.
Right.
And I love camping, cooking on the fire and stuff like that. We made steaks, we made eggs and potatoes the next morning and stuff like that. It was great.
Ooh,
So yeah.
sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you mean though. You don't mean just unplugging like I don't have my phone anymore. You mean
Yeah.
unplugging like I'm gonna go sit in a chair 50 feet that way away from
Yeah, yeah.
everyone else.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
because, like, yeah, there is something to saying, "I don't want my phone for a whole day," but then there's something to say, like, "I wanna actually, like, in a way, like, meditate about
Yeah,
life and about
totally.
things and about everything," which
Yeah.
I didn't get to do that part, so,
Yeah.
yeah. What are you entry buzzing on?
Ooh, okay. So here we go.
Okay.
I'm entry buzzing on last year's Jack 10,
Ooh, Jack 10, nice. Batch 3?
batch 3 and batch 12. Double
Ooh,
entry
or
buzz.
nice.
Yes.
The cool thing, what's the 12-year proof again?
107.
And then the 10 years like 97.5 or something like that? Or is it just
97. They're
97? Okay,
10
yeah.
proof points apart. Yeah.
So that's what's so interesting. We'll get into this on the history is what makes 14 extra special is the proof, but we won't give it away
Yeah.
yet. I personally um found a single barrel proof in the 120 range.
Nice.
It's a 129.3 and it's very good. It's sometimes these can read a little hot. This one's reading just about right on the proofage.
Is that the same one you were drinking on the Uncle Nearest episode?
No, that was what was I drinking on Uncle Nearest? No, that was the
That was a pick,
I
actually. I think your Uncle Nearest episode one, maybe.
I don't even remember.
You were we both entry buzzed on a single barrel proof Jack for Uncle Nearest, for
It
sure.
couldn't have been this one.
Hmm.
I don't think it was. But anyway,
Roll the tape.
yeah. But I might have I don't remember touching this recently.
Hmm.
Maybe I did. Maybe I'm just losing my mind.
Yeah, losing
It's
it.
very good. Nice banana notes for sure. Have you sipped Jack 14 yet?
Yes. I could not wait.
You
I was very
always do.
excited. I always do.
But you at least pour me 2 samples. One
I
for the
did.
pool, one for the episode. So
Yes. Yeah.
thank you.
Jack 14 needs to be in the pool. Very
Yeah.
excited for us to pull this randomly
Nice.
someday. Oh, which means I need to pour myself one for the pool. Um,
Heyo.
but yeah, the day that I got it, the day that I poured samples, I
Mhm.
of course put a little in the Glen for myself and gave it a
Nice.
whirl. So obviously I won't say anything about it. I still think back. There was something I was like, there was something that I had sipped before and we were doing the episode
Mhm.
on it. And late in the
Yeah.
intro, I was like, the thing that you won't find on this is blank. And then you were like, damn it. You were like, I was excited to see if that was there or not. And I like totally
Oh,
for you.
oh, that's funny. Um, I what was I thinking? How much of your bottle do you have left?
Oh, tons. I am
Oh, that's
barely
plenty. That's just
barely to the
enough to
label.
take a small sip and 2 samples.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
that's literally what's happened. So yeah, I haven't
Nice.
even shared this with other people yet. Like
Nice.
Rob and David, Brian got one too, Brian
Yeah.
Duncan.
What a
But like
baller.
we still need to get together just so that we can share it with Rob and David, because Rob and David didn't
Nice.
get one. And anybody else, hit me up,
Nice.
send me a message on Instagram if you want to
Yeah.
come to a little tasting and try some Jack 14. Hell, why
Hey.
not?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to live in Phoenix. You just got to get to Phoenix on your own. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah. No, that's cool. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into this?
Well, yeah, you know what? Let's talk
Mhm.
about how we both chose to wear the same color green shirt today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does throw me off looking at both of us.
I know. It feels weird. It feels very
Yeah.
like purposeful. It feels like we
Yeah.
planned this. Dude,
Feels
wear the green
culty.
shirt today. Okay, sounds good. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. Join the
you
chill
were at a
filtered
store one
cult.
day. You were
Yeah.
at a
Where
store one day
we
and you were like, "Hey, I
uh,
found this sweet green shirt. Do you want one?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, send it to me." So you sent me a green shirt so we could both wear the same shirt on the same day.
where do you get your clothes? Just random
This is
brick and
this
mortars?
I wanted to try just a plain t-shirt from Banana Republic, so I
Nice.
probably spent too much on this t-shirt,
Uh,
but it's okay.
sometimes they go on sale.
I didn't go get any more. It's fine for
Mhm.
what it is, but I just wanted to see what their shirts were like. Where do I
Nice.
normally get my stuff? Probably just like Target.
Yeah.
I used to shop heavy at Abercrombie,
Mhm.
but
Nice.
their style, I'm sure they're keeping up with the trends, and I am
Yeah.
very much
With the
not.
youngsters.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so like I think over the last like 2 years, I've pulled up Abercrombie and Fitch, be like, I need some clothes. Let me see what their like
Mhm.
flannel button up shirts are like or
Yeah.
whatever. And like nowadays, like they don't do flannel button up shirts anymore. It's
Oh,
just like
rough. It's not the
it's
Gen
taking
Z
it.
life anymore,
Yeah, I know.
or
So
keeping up with that.
in order for me to stick with my old grandpa ways, I got to go somewhere else.
Um, I'm very simple in when I buy my own clothes. American Eagle jeans on
Nice.
sale always. With a tiny bit of stretch in the
Yeah, dude.
jeans.
Yeah.
Um, and then I buy this brand on Amazon called Next Level shirts, t-shirts.
Oh,
That's all I
cool.
buy. They're never like, graphic tees or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, and they fit, like, especially with my long torso, they fit well, and they're like $7 a shirt,
Nice.
and they last forever, and they don't pill up or anything like that. They're just good quality shirts. The only thing that's ever happened to these shirts is on this specific shirt, I have a little rip in the seam here, but that's the only thing
Dude,
I've ever
mine
had.
too. No, I'm kidding.
Really? Oh, that'd be
No, no.
crazy. Um, but yeah, Next Level shirts, and they fit just as good as like the best I've ever had, basically. So
Nice. I will. I am going to buy some of those
check it
just to
out.
try, because I need some
Yeah.
new t-shirts.
$8 bucks. Yeah.
The t-shirts that I have are like 5 years old at least.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I kind of need some new jeans too, so maybe I'll give American Eagle a shot. But I
Dude.
can vouch
Yeah.
for Target's jeans. If you're shopping
Uh-huh.
online at Target and you look to make
Mhm.
sure that the ingredient list, whatever the
Yeah,
fibers that went into the
yeah.
making of the thing,
Mhm.
as long as there's like 1-2% elastane or
Yeah,
more percent in there,
yeah,
then you're gonna get the good stretchy. And the
yeah,
Target jeans have good stretchy. I like it a lot.
yeah. No, like, American Eagle is one of the first brands to kinda do it, and from what I recognized, and I can't go back. Like,
Nice.
it's just, like, the perfect amount of stretch, and then, keeps the trench of swampy goodness right where it belongs, so,
Yeah, well,
mhm.
if our listeners know anything about the Chill Filtered podcast, they know that
Yeah,
Cole wears
episode
jeans.
100.
Cole literally sleeps in jeans. So if you're
Yeah.
looking for
No, I
good advice
used
on what
to, I don't
jeans to
anymore.
buy. Oh, okay, sure. That's
Like,
what he
through
said.
college,
Yeah.
I slept in jeans every night. Yeah. Mhm.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
This man knows his jeans.
Yeah. But that was before I found the stretch, and now they're
Found
even
the
more comfortable.
stretch. Sounds like finding Jesus. That was before I found the stretch.
I found the stretch, and I'm preaching the gospel of it. So, all right, let's send it to a break in a moment. We'll get into the history. We'll get into what makes this pour special, and we'll get into a little special history that I got planned. But we'll do that right after this quick break. Brian, I have a question for you. You ever wanted to butter toast, but thought, buttering is too much work?
Cole, every single morning. Sometimes I stare at my unbuttered toast and just give up.
Well, good news, buddy. Introducing Mervyn's pre-buttered toast. It's toast already buttered. No spreading, no smearing, just 100% pure factory pre-buttered convenience.
Hold on. Factory pre-buttered? How does that even work?
Oh, it's simple. Each slice is toasted and buttered by Mervyn himself, an 87-year-old man with incredibly soft hands and a passion for dairy-based efficiency.
That's horrifying and yet weirdly comforting.
You know, get this. Mervyn himself personally whispers, "Enjoy," to every single piece before packaging.
So you're telling me my toast is handcrafted, buttered, and gently blessed by an elderly man named Mervyn?
You bet your buttery buns it is. Mervyn's pre-buttered toast, because life's too short for unbuttered bread.
That is deeply unsettling, but I'll take 2 loaves.
Mervyn's pre-buttered toast. Now available exclusively at gas stations and questionable roadside stands. All right, we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed our nice commercial break. We were sponsored this week by a company.
Shout out to Mervyn.
Yep, shout out to Mervyn, 87 years old. Some quick notes to get to. We had an awesome drink along last week, and we were grateful for all who joined. One of our listeners joined and was on a kind of a drinking break, but he still joined. So that guy's a baller. And so are all of our special guests that we had on that live video. This is definitely not our first Jack Daniels episode. It has been, we've done a decent amount. We've done things like Jack 12. We've done things like Jack 10. We've done both in the same episode even. We've done Old Number 7. We've done Barrel Proof. We've done a lot of Jack Daniels, and it's been fun. But this one, I didn't want to go over like the basics of Jack Daniels Distillery, because we've done that a lot. And so what I was really most interested in for the history of this podcast was this question. Basically, apparently age statements, including potentially a 14-year-old Jack Daniels, used to happen over 100 years ago with Jack Daniels. But we don't know much about those releases. But I know this because in the press releases for this release of the 14-year, they're like, we haven't put out a thing like this in over 100 years. And I'm like, well, tell me all you can about the 100 years ago 14-year Jack Daniels, and I couldn't find much. But this I did find, that 100 years ago, Jack Daniels was not making whiskey, nor were a lot of people. And because it was Prohibition 100 years ago, it was in the middle of Prohibition. Prohibition started in 1920 and ended in 1933. But there is something extra special about Tennessee whiskey related to Prohibition, and that is that it was a little bit different in Tennessee than it was nationwide. And so I went into the history of Tennessee Prohibition. And so we're going to talk about that for a little bit. So Tennessee actually banned liquor production in 1910, 10 whole years before national prohibition.
Wow.
And that was driven by the temperance movement, where people were like, you shouldn't drink, and especially in the South, there was this movement towards southern what's the word I'm looking for,
Purity.
ideals. Yeah. And it was basically either religious or political groups were pushing for moral reform, especially in the South. And so that's what kicked it off a little early in the state of Tennessee. And then the crazy thing is, and I'll get to that in a little bit, I'll wait. So the distillery Jack Daniel's could no longer produce whiskey in Lynchburg after 1910. And so what they attempted to do at the time was move to either Alabama or Missouri. And they had somewhere in St. Louis where they were trying to make Jack Daniel's whiskey. And then in Birmingham, Alabama, they tried that as well, but neither one was really working. And they blamed some of that, the failed efforts, to water quality in the other places. I guess Lynchburg, Tennessee's just got the best water.
Sure, that sounds
so
like
it didn't
an
really
easy thing to blame it on. Yeah,
exactly. Who
it's
wants
the water.
Birmingham?
Yeah, when
water.
people say there's something in the water, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, and St. Louis just wasn't cutting it either. So, but they basically survived as a company during those many years as a prohibition distillery. They weren't one, as far as I could read, they weren't one of the distilleries that could produce whiskey medicinally, like something like Buffalo Trace or some of the other ones we've, like, I want to say, what was it? I want to see Brown Forman was on the list, but either way, they survived by selling pre-prohibition whiskey barrels through limited distillation they could do when possible. And then after prohibition, so prohibition, like I said, ended in 1933, but not for Tennessee. It took a whole nother 4 years before Tennessee reenacted whiskey distillation and whiskey making, or even just alcohol production, in 1937. Even after legalization, Moore County, which is where Lynchburg is, Lynchburg, Tennessee, the home of Jack Daniel's, remained a dry county, and it still is today, over like almost 100 years
I
later.
knew that. That's right. Yeah.
And so Jack Daniel's can pull it off to where they can sell decanters. It's like a loophole through the distillery, but really they can't sell like typical bottles in Moore County. And even I looked it up, there are no bars and there are no liquor stores in Moore County. So you can't. It's a dry county. And then I looked it up. Some restaurants can sell alcohol, but it has to fit some specifications in Moore County. But you can't do like standard bars, and you can't do liquor stores there. So anyway, after legalization, Jack Daniel's resumed production in 1938 under Lem Motlow, who was Jack Daniel's nephew. And World War II actually made things worse because there was grain rationing, delaying full-scale production for Jack Daniel's. But after the war, the brand saw massive growth to where it's one of the most sold American whiskey brands in the world.
Nice.
And some other interesting details that I kind of found out is that Jack Daniel's himself died right after Prohibition kicked in 1911. So 1910
Prohibition killed him?
Yeah, it does. Dude, you look into some of these like long-term legends of whiskey, and a lot of them died during Prohibition because they're just
wow.
I don't know but
sounds like
kind of hard.
Awesome conspiracy theory in there somewhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should start that. So apparently he died because he kicked a safe because he couldn't remember the what do you call it, the combination. Combo. Kicked a safe, and his toe got infected because it like got so bruised up, and that's apparently what killed him in 1911. And I looked into it. I was like, "What's the safe story?" Like, and they're just like, "No, he just didn't know the combination. It wasn't like it was the safe that held the perfect recipe for making the greatest of Jack Daniel's products."
And to this day, no one can open it.
Exactly, that would be super cool, but it wasn't that.
Sword in the stone situation where people can try, but only the truly worthy can open the safe without dying.
Yeah, exactly. Without kicking it and getting gangrene. That was one of the things they were like, he might have just got gangrene and died from gangrene, but either way. So his nephew Lem Motlow took over the business, but actually
like
served in the
name of a character in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. He actually served on the Tennessee Senate and lobbied for the eventual repeal of prohibition in Tennessee. So I thought that was cool. Talked about that. And the loophole I talked about, that Jack Daniel's can sell commemorative decanters, that came into effect in 1995. So up until that point, they couldn't sell a thing at the distillery or anything like that in Moore County. So we're talking about today Jack Daniel's 14-year batch one recent release. It was so exciting to see this on the upcoming releases. 2025 release. Standard mash bill of Jack Daniel's is 80% corn, 12% malty bees, and 8% rye. So it is a malty bee secondary grain here. Lincoln County process was applied to this. Of course, that is the standard to call it Tennessee whiskey these days, unless you've grandfathered in. 14 years aged and bottled at 126.3 proof, high proof. So what do you think? If they put out a 16-year in a few years, are they going to bottle it at 136 next time? Or like 137? There's a pattern we're seeing here. So,
knowing what I know about how master distillers feel about what proof to set their products at, I am certain that this is just the way that it was the best. And I'm sure that
do you think they'll change it every year for the 14-year? Because they haven't done it for the 12 or the 10.
I absolutely think they'll change it every year for the 14-year.
Because they hand wrote it.
Handwritten on the bottle, man. Okay, but I got a question for you. Why isn't it called the Moore County process?
That's a great question. I want to say that Jack Daniel's didn't start in Lynchburg. Let's figure this out.
Moore County. Or like, was it maybe Lincoln somebody County, else entirely Tennessee came up with that process? Maybe.
Well, apparently, homeboy Nearest Green was behind that process. Maybe not behind it, but he's the one who taught Jack Daniels to do it. Apparently.
County and I wonder how Jack Daniels feels about the whole like commemorative thing, about how the fact that they can't sell bottles. I mean, like surely from a business standpoint, they want to be able to sell bottles in their own
there's
shop.
Money to be made.
So it makes me wonder if, like year after year, are they always in there lobbying to try to get it to change? And whatever board of, I know nothing about politics. They're all in there like telling Jack Daniel's company, no, you can't do this. I just wonder how hard they're fighting it, and if it's even like worth it anymore for them or whatever. If I ever attend one of those Chris Fletcher dinners, maybe I'll ask that question.
Yeah, seriously. So they're really close. Lincoln County is probably adjacent to Moore County. Moore County has Lynchburg, but Lincoln County is just southwest. It's like near Fayetteville, Tennessee. And I don't know much more than that, but I have a feeling that like Jack Daniel's moved as a distillery. I would have to look it up later, but I have a feeling they started in Lincoln County and then moved to Moore County.
Gotcha.
Or maybe, I don't know. There's some options there, but I kind of dig it that there's that question. I like that question. So, all right. I just opened my bottle. Why don't you give a cork pop?
Oh yeah, I got you. Hang
depth of darkness on this pour.
Nice little squeak. Nice little pop. That's good.
Squeak and pop. The old squeak and pop.
Yeah. Everybody loves a good squeaking a pop.
Ooh, great nose. Great.
All right, let me tell you real quick before we get into this. I also here have a pour of this bad boy.
Okay. Oh, Coy Hill, baby.
I will be drinking a smidge of the recent
Was that the
non-hazmat.
124 you had?
The 124. Yeah.
Ooh, low proof Coy Hill.
Yeah. So that released last year, I'll be sipping a little of that side by side here. Hopefully I remember to give a good comparison on that here.
This reminds me of like Russell's 15 kind of nose. That's a nice depth of darkness right there. Why do I say this reminds me of Russell's 15? It is dusty aged, like in a really good way. It's got a really great oaky nose, but not overwhelming. It's got a lot going on up front. Sweetness, berries, oak, but not too potent on the alcohol vapors or anything like that. Like this is a well matured whiskey just off of the nose. I can already tell.
I totally agree. Ooh. And I feel like I've said dusty musty a lot lately. Granted, we do typically drink some good whiskeys that are probably commonly dusty musty, but this is the dusty musty king here. This is
go ahead.
This is barrels from the deepest depth of a dungeon basement. This smells like this barrel was long forgotten 50 feet below ground. Okay, wait. If you've ever been fortunate enough to be able to smell the seeping out liquid from a barrel, completely dried and sticky gunk that seeps out of a barrel, this is what that smells like to me.
This, if you had blinded this for me, I would have guessed Wild Turkey. I would not have guessed Brown-Forman, Old Forester, or Jack Daniels, which are kind of somewhat related sometimes, but not exactly. This is.
Are you still on
Berries sweet on the nose, but I'm gonna go for a sip.
Okay, I just sipped. First sip right off the cuff. All I've had before this is some 10 and 12. This is very okay, not very. I take the very back. This is mouth drying. This is a little tannic oak. That's the primary thing going on here. There's a pepper spice a little bit for me on this first sip. I'm not seeing much in the fruity and rich territory, but the same way that when we talked about Russell's 15 forever ago, how it has the ability to have a medium mouthfeel. It's not thick, it's not thin. It has a thinner mouthfeel. It's not extraordinarily thick, but it maintains a bunch of flavors, oak and oily tannic wood and a little pepper spice. It's a great balance of flavors and viscosity that I really enjoyed on the first sip.
Yeah, up front, first sip, it is a little tannic, it is a little drying, but then it has this gorgeous finish to me. The best part about this is the finish. I am getting less fruit, more caramel, more toffee. One of the most pronounced toffee notes I've gotten in a while. There is a slight banana, but it's very hidden behind a lot of stuff. It's like behind the caramel, behind the toffee. There's like a hint of banana, which is very welcome in this flavor profile that I'm getting.
Love when people hint at bananas. I just love it. Yeah. I just sipped the Koi, and the Koi comparatively was brighter. It was like ripe fruit versus overripe fruit. The Jack 14 was more like an overripe musty fruit that's a little fermented. The Koi stayed had a much more sugary caramel palate notes, and more in the brighter fruity, almost into like red cherries territory versus the Jack Daniel's 14. The Jack Daniel's 14 is much more wood spice, tannic, oak, And the Koi had a hotter finish. I think both finishes were about the same length, but the Koi was like a little more like Fireball in my mouth. But no, sorry, not literally Fireball the liquor.
No, not like cinnamon whiskey.
Yeah. A figurative Fireball in my mouth. Yeah. The Jack Daniel's 14 finish is much more like you sit back in your chair and you're like, oh yeah, I'm digging this.
So when it came to my expectations for this pour, I was very not worried, but I was like, maybe it's just overhyped. Maybe it's like, and I heard some people that were like, maybe the 12 years better. So I was like, maybe the 14 years is just all right. Maybe but it still won it, but maybe, no, this is better than my expectations. I really love this. This is great.
Yeah.
So well matured. Like that's one of the things about it. It's got a beautiful balance of fruit, caramel, toffee, and oak. It's delicious.
I 100% agree. And I took my second sip of the Jack 14 now, and I'm seeing through the peppery. I'm seeing more than just oak. I'm really getting a very, very light caramel banana thing going on here.
Nice.
A very kind of dark red fruit. These are all very light. Each individual note that I'm saying is none are prominent. They're all pretty low in intensity, but they're all very even in intensity.
Yeah.
Which just like, and it lasts a really long time. So it leaves you looking through all these notes, trying to figure out, is there a dominant one? What am I really getting here? But you're just getting a bunch of different things all at the same time, very softly and smoothly.
I just dropped a few drops of water, and this is sharp now. Not in a bad way. It's just not better than the neat, at least on the nose. The nose brings out these sharp. I think the alcohol vapor just like gives it a little amplitude, if that makes any sense. Hey, amplitude. You're an RF guy.
I do know amplitude.
Yeah, and I think it just like kind of amplifies the other notes in a sharp way. I don't love the nose. I still actually do enjoy it, but it's just the proof is overpowering it on the which is weird for adding a little water to it.
So more on the ABV stuff going on with water for you. I'm sniffing my water now. I'm sniffing my water added to my Jack 14 now. And I'm getting more funk, a little more on like a old moldy tree stump funk.
Interesting.
I'm not more ABV with the water. I'm a little more musty with water on the nose. At least I'll take a sip here.
No, it's still good. Still all the same flavors, but it's just spread out a little too thin. And it's not like it's thin on everything. It's just the brightness shows up too much. The sharpness shows up too much with the alcohol. I like it. I don't like it not too much. I mean, it's a distance from the neat pour. The neat pour is a lot better. Yeah.
Totally agree. I didn't know what you meant by sharpness until I sipped the water pour. Yeah, I do get prominent ethanol sting on the palate with the water pour. So yeah, water pour is a hard no relatively. Any kind of sugary caramel banana that I saw on the neat pour is totally gone now. And it's mostly like bitter oak and ABV heat. Yeah. I did very little water on my neat pour, and since it changed in such a negative way, I'm gonna just add ice to this. 2 drops of water in 0.7 ounce pour here.
I'm a little worried about this ice. I don't think it's gonna. If the water did that to it, I don't think the ice is gonna improve it at all. That neat pour though, honestly, I'm already dreaming of my score.
Yeah, okay, I should probably think about that. I'm getting a lot of sweet bananas on the nose with ice. The ice on the nose is kind of a lot of the tannic oak goes away on the nose.
Oh,
it's pretty banana
ruined
candy.
it.
Oh, okay, good. Well, not good, but yeah. Well, glad I didn't pour a whole other Glen for ice.
If you handed me this and just said, "Hey, this is a good whiskey," I wouldn't agree with you. They ruined it. I hate to say that, but do not put ice in your Jack 14. Just drink it neat. It's bitter. It is bitey. It really doesn't bring out any great flavors. It's just not good. Yeah, I'm sad I poured this much and a little more just for the ice pour. Yeah.
Oh no! How dare you? Yeah, it kind of turned into like tea. It kind of turned into like a weak tea with ice. There's just light, earthy stuff going on here. Nobody cares. I shouldn't even go into this because nobody's going to do this anyway. We're telling you not to do it. Don't do it. No ice in the Jack 14. That's it.
Yeah. Ooh, I got to recover from that ice pour.
Yeah, I know, right? Do you have a little more for a neat pour?
I do. I'm going to do that in a moment.
Yeah, actually, I'll do that too. I'll come back.
I just got to.
Hope everyone enjoyed me crunching my ice. I feel like that's a thing that sets people off. If you hear somebody crunching ice, is it like nails on a chalkboard for you?
Not for me. Dude, you know what's nails on a chalkboard for me? My daughter, Beck, she will, when she's sleeping,
her nails,
she'll gnash her teeth.
Drag them down a chalkboard.
No, when she's sleeping, like you can hear her grinding her teeth.
Dude,
and like especially when she like semi wakes up. So if I like go in and like kiss her after she's asleep, sometimes she'll like semi wake up and just like grind her teeth, and she'll and I'm like, ah! Like it is super nails on the chalkboard for me.
So my brother, he probably still does it. He's always done it. He's always ground his teeth in his sleep, but it sounds insane. Here's what it sounds like.
It
Ready?
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
No, it sounds like this.
Oh,
it
really?
Sounds, yes. I don't know how he does it. Dude. It's like, oh God, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, but it's just not a fun sound.
While we're sharing nails on a chalkboard, I love this. I have such a weird one. If one hand is wet and the other hand is dry, I cannot use a towel to dry my wet hand because
is that it's not an audio thing though. It's
not at all. Not at all. It's a tactile, dry hand on a towel thing where like one hand is wet and the water is being absorbed off of it.
One hand and
the dry hand on the towel, feeling the dry hand on the towel like makes me just like, oh, I can't take it. That's my super weird personal fact of the day.
Yeah, like what's the word? Kind of aversion.
Nails on a chalkboard. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, I just poured the neat pour again. This is okay. So I'm gonna start talking about my score. I don't know what I gave Russell's 15, but it's gonna be close to that. I don't think it beats Russell's 15. I want to say this is like a 9.45. I don't know what I gave Russell's 15, but it's slightly lower. Slightly. This is much better than I expected. It is a beautiful maturation of 14 years that led to this pour. Everything, the nose, the palate, the finish is amazing on the neat pour. The best part is the finish, and it is beautifully balanced. I love this. So if you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up. But that's what I got to say. I'm going to give it a 9.45 and an A+ for sure.
Nice. Do you have any idea what secondary is on this?
I don't, but I never mentioned the retail. It was $150. I want to say it's like $650 or something like that.
I was curious. If you had no idea, I was going to ask you how much you'd pay for it.
I wouldn't pay $650, that's for sure. I would pay $250 for this for sure.
Yeah, I think I'd pay close to $300. Yeah.
Yeah.
This so it's all about a oaky spice finish. If you want, okay, first off, also I will say, to me, this whiskey drinks very underproof. For this to be,
it definitely doesn't feel like 125-ish.
Yep, for this to be 126.3, like I think on a reentry buzz, I would peg this like 116-ish or something.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Like tops. So this is, if you want a nice, like easygoing, very long finish, you can clearly tell the age, old funky oak and spice pour. This is your pour. But at the same time, I'd probably only pay, upwards of 300, like absolute tops.
Yeah,
for this.
absolutely. Yeah, it's hard in that way because it is delish. But
I didn't actually rate it.
Oh yeah, rate it.
I am gonna not give this the plus on A. I think I'm just gonna say A.
Nice.
It's tricky. It's an A plus minus. There you go.
Okay.
It's very good.
It's like a 96.5 out of 100. So it's like almost an A plus.
The 0.5 just dragged it down a little bit. It is absolutely, hands down, extremely solid and well-rounded. No negative comment can be made. This is a very curated blend, and you can tell that a lot of 100%. Care and craftsmanship went into this pour. But overall, some of the other A plus pours that I've had recently are just a pour that I'd rather have than this. What this lacks, and the reason that it didn't get a plus, is it lacked a richer mouthfeel, and it lacked more of a enjoyable sugary fruit flavors on the palate. So if for some reason all you care about is oaky spice and you don't care about fruit or a nice, rich, thick mouthfeel, then this is your jam. But for me, it lands about an A.
I think like I said, that toffee note that I'm getting from this makes up for the fruitiness to me. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
But that's why people taste different. And you, listener, viewer, will taste different than us, but I hope we've helped you in purchasing something like this.
And I hope our
love spirits lifted your whiskey. All right, now it's time for our next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Whiskey World News, and today we are reading an email. That's right, not an article, an email from good friend of the podcast, Christy Cahill, the Sazerac press release, the queen of Sazerac press
She's
releases.
one of them, next to Jalissa and Corey. Corey are the other ones.
Oh, Corey. Yeah, that's right.
Corey, I forgot what his last name is.
Cahill?
No, Corey Macaulay.
Oh, wow. Where did I get Cahill from? I'll have to search our emails for a Cahill. Oh, wait, it's Christy Cahill.
All right. Yeah, that's what it is.
Today's emails from Christy Cahill, and she says, we are delighted to announce the Last Drops 2025 collection, which features 3 remarkably rare whiskeys that celebrate the unique maturation methods used by the most prestigious distilleries around the world. A 27-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon from Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Wow. At a high proof.
I could just stop right there. But in addition to that, a 55-year-old single malt scotch from the Tomintoul Distillery, and a 22-year-old Japanese blended malt whiskey. So these are releases 37, 38, and 39. Let me tell you the details on them. So release 37, the Last Drop 27-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon from the Buffalo Trace Distillery, presenting at 121.8 proof, 60.9% ABV, 508 bottles of this uncut, unfiltered bourbon, one of the oldest Buffalo Trace Distillery has ever released, will be available at a suggested retail price of, guess, hold on, I'm just going to pause for like 5 seconds. Listener, please guess what you think this is going to cost per bottle.
How much? 27 BT.
And it is $10,500.
$10,500.
Comment on YouTube and tell us how far off you were, but it is a suggested retail price of $10,500 for one of the oldest Buffalo Trace Distillery bottles ever to be released, 121.8 proof, 27 year from Buffalo Trace.
Yeah. So there is a reason in my mind that Buffalo Trace didn't put their name on it. Like, it is Sazerac, it is the same company, it's all that stuff. But like, I read this was honestly like 10 years ago, that Buffalo Trace did an experiment where they were like, let's get to 27, 28 year range, and the barrel vinegarized.
Oh yeah.
Like, it turned into vinegar.
That's right.
And so if you only have, what was the output? It was like 500 or so bottles of the release, or 508.
Yeah.
So that's probably 3 barrels, maybe 4, depending on evaporation loss.
Yeah. At cast strength, it's
at cast strength
3
for
or
sure.
4. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a great point. So who knows? There might be a good amount of barrels involved.
Yeah, 3 or 4 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But let's just only talk about the 27-year Buffalo Trace. Dude, I couldn't imagine. And like, so we reached out to Christy and we're like, hey, you guys got any media samples? They haven't responded yet, but we've been surprised in the past. Most of the time, for last drop releases, we don't hear back and they say we don't have any, media samples. But
for you,
but like we did last time, we got the Tom and Tool and the Ardmore. I forget what it was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
There was like a 40-year and a 50-something year, and they were delicious. And then we literally got 30 milliliters that we split between the two of us, and it was still amazing. But I would not ever spend $10,500 on a bottle of whiskey. But I am very curious what this tastes like. So that would be incredible if Christy got back to us and was like, yeah, we got 30 mils ready for you guys. Dude, I would flip out.
This time we've got 30 mils for each of you.
Exactly. Dude, I would like, my eyes would roll back to the back of my head even before trying it, just to know that we could try it. Yeah. So I don't expect it to be great, but then again, one of the oldest Buffalo Trace products I've ever had was Pappy 23, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So I can't imagine this would be terrible. They're putting it out for a reason, but that was my point is, like, for some reason Buffalo Trace isn't releasing this, but then again, that's something that absolutely the independent bottler side of Sazerac, the last drop, would do. So I am very curious.
Well, and I guess maybe this is something for you to ask Gemini while I'm talking here, but what the price was for the oldest Buffalo Trace release ever. Like, actually from Buffalo Trace, because we've got Weller Millennium that I'm blanking on how much that was, but like I know the MSRP on like Double Eagle Very Rare is like 2,300 or something, and OFC 2,600 or something, but Weller Millennium I want to say was on the order of like 6K, like 7K maybe, but for this I feel like
it's Weller Millennium according to Gemini.
The last drop,
7,500. Yeah.
The last drop has established themselves as a name of like, you are paying for this.
Yeah.
Like the last drops releases are always $5,000 plus. So it's like
at the least,
if Buffalo Trace has a vinegarized 27-year bottle that they want to get rid of, all they have to do is slap the name Last Drop on it and sell it under the name Last Drop, and then it'll be $10,000 a bottle times 500, and boom.
And it tastes like vinegar, but it's still good.
All right. Can you imagine if like it was actually like the world's worst whiskey, but they were like, no one's going to actually drink this.
Yeah,
Let's
it's not
just
under the Buffalo Trace name.
Yeah. Okay, but for real though, I'm sure it's fantastic. But
dude,
for due diligence here, let's just say release number 38 was that 55-year single malt from Tom and Tool. Sister cask to the Last Drop release number 36, which we tried, right?
Yep.
Debuted in the 2024 collection. Blah, blah, blah. Ultra aged scotch available at suggested retail price of $5,500. Release number 39 was that 22-year Japanese blended malt whiskey.
22-year Japanese, it'd be amazing.
Featuring malt whiskeys distilled and laid for maturation in the year 2000. This release is a special marriage of 100% Japanese whiskeys derived from two casks, both made from the coveted Misonara oak.
Oh, it's coveted.
Encapsulating the artistry of distilling in the country responsible for some of the most highly valued whiskeys in the world. 319 bottles of that one at 118 proof. Japanese whiskey at 118 proof, 22-year.
Both the Tom and Tool and the Japanese one were both 319 bottles.
Wow.
Conspiracy? I think yes.
Both are 319 bottles and both are $5,500.
And both are 118.2. Did you notice that?
118.2.
Wow. Conspiracy? I think yes.
Maybe it's the same whiskey and they just decided to split it, and it's a Scotch Japanese whiskey blend that
Tom
just
and
covers
Tool,
both
Yamazaki or something like that. Yeah.
The only way we're going to get to the bottom of this is if Christy Cahill sends us each 30 ml samples.
Straight up. And they're both 55. Yeah, dude. It's a conspiracy.
Please.
Yeah. So
all right.
I'm sure
that's
Christy's
it.
Listening to this now.
Yes, Christy, we love you. Moving from Whiskey World News to what whiskey would you choose? Let's just tie a nice little bow on what we talked about last week with the celebrity brand backing. Neil deGrasse Tyson pulled it out in the end, 73% to 27 versus Bill Nye the Science Guy. Majority of our Instagram viewers are looking to Neil deGrasse Tyson to tell them what whiskey to drink versus Bill Nye the Science Guy. Sorry, Bill. Got another couple write-ins as the 24 hours wrapped up on that story. We got Dramhound saying Jimmy Russell as his celebrity actor. Perfect. When we got Madtown Margaret Ben Klepsik here writing in saying David Tennant, the Doctor Who guy, the Scottish actor. Yeah. But the real what whiskey would you choose previously was what 2025 release are you most excited for? And from Cole and Mai's vote, we put it to you, and you said 59% of you said Russell's 13 over the Buffalo Trace Single Oak Project at 41%. Cole, how do you feel about that?
I was surprised because wasn't I winning for a while? I could have sworn I was winning for a while.
I don't remember, but I will say I'm surprised too. Like when I was making this story, when I was crafting the little votey thing and everything,
all those people's bottles that they could have found.
As I was typing it in, I was typing Russell's 13, and then I was typing in the Buffalo Trace Single Oak Project. I was like, there's absolutely no way that Russell's 13 wins here, and it did.
It won. That's crazy.
Interesting.
I blame
Harlan Wheatley. Harlan Wheatley. No, I blame. Yeah. All right, we got some write-ins though.
I blame Elmer T. Lee. That's who I blame.
Yeah, man, the original single barrel dude right there. Yeah. Did you
1984, baby?
Oh, wait, hold on. When does this? There's a Whiskey World News add-on here the Buffalo Trace, the Sazerac Barrel Select. That's what it's called. Sazerac Barrel Select. You can enter in to win. Just go out there and Google Sazerac Barrel Select. Sign up for an account
right now.
Yeah,
and if you can't afford it, know that Chill Filtered will afford it for you.
We will figure it out one way or another, but it's an absolutely free entry into a lottery to be able to select a single barrel of something from Buffalo Trace. It varies from raffle to raffle. It might be Stag, it might be Weller Full Proof, it might be whatever.
Bowman.
John J. Bowman, which, dude, cast strength Bowman, like, oh man. Anyway, go out there and Google Sazerac Barrel Select, sign up for an account, and enter into that lottery. They have a pick coming soon, and you might get picked to do a single barrel, and you'll just go ahead and shoot us an Instagram message and say, hey, Cole and Bryan, would you like to come along on my single barrel pick of Eagle Rare? And we'll say, yes, please. We'll see you there. Sounds great. We'll pay for everything. But anyway.
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah. No doubt. Second episode in a row. No doubt.
Stefani, baby.
Keep tabs on the No Doubt references. But we got some write-ins from the previous What Whiskey Would You Choose? The question was, what 2025 release are you most excited for? And Dramhound wrote in and said, I don't have high hopes of acquiring anything, but the dream is King of Kentucky. And the reality, Dramhound. The reality for Dramhound.
He's totally gonna get it. Knowing
is
Dramhound.
Eagle Rare 12 year. This dude knows how to get an Eagle Rare 12 year. So send an Instagram message to Dramhound and say, dude, can I get an Eagle Rare 12 year too?
Eagle Rare 12 year?
No, I can't. I don't know. I can't. I don't. That sounds like a special enough release that it's going to be one of those things where like the state of Arizona receives 2 cases,
4 bottles.
Like, that's it. Yeah. So anyway, good luck, Dramhound. We hope you get one. Madtown Marketer wrote in. He said, found North Peregrine. Not sure the 2024 Peregrine, the previous. Or are you hoping for the next one? But anyway, we're all hoping for Found North Peregrine, so we're with you on that one. Cody Clark wrote in. He said a Jack special release. I will say the Jack special release in 2025 is a 10-year rye whiskey. Not sure what the proof is. Yeah, dude.
Send me that bottle.
Yeah, I don't care if the proof's 88. Like, send me a 10-year.
I don't care if it's 80. I'll drink that.
Yeah, right. Dude, I don't care if it's 79.
I do. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Whiskey Shaman wrote in. He said Lost Lantern and Andalusia.
Nice.
I have yet to try me some of that. Mingo 22C wrote in. He said Jack 14 and random store picks. I hope he got a Jack 14. Because that drop's
Mingo,
probably come and gone
for you.
Random store picks though, I can almost guarantee you'll get some random store picks. Oh, we got Demitas in the house. Yeah. He says Westland Solemn or the next Cedar Ridge special release. Cedar Ridge. Why does that sound so
Iowa,
familiar?
baby.
Yeah,
they're the ones who did that. What do you call it? I believe they're the ones that did the. What's that band? What's that friggin' band?
Wait, no, not Smashing Pumpkins, right?
No, the other band.
Fallout Boy. Linkin Park.
No, he's the guy. Corey Taylor.
Chopin.
No, it's Corey Taylor is the lead singer of 2 bands. One is called Stone Sour. The other one is called, I forget. So
Stone Temple Pilots.
Dang it. Now I got to look it up. Corey Taylor.
Do it. Cedar Ridge. Like someone sent me some
He's the lead singer
Ridge.
of Slipknot. So I think they did a Slipknot thing.
Very good. Actually, that sounds super familiar now that you say that.
Yeah.
All right. That is it, though, for the write-ins we were asking you this week. Now on Instagram, you'll see the story on, Wednesday. The question this week is, what is the longest you've ever waited in line for a bottle? Now, actually, I'm wondering, because of the way Virginia ABC goes, you don't wait in line for a bottle. You go multiple times for a bottle. So do you have a good wait in line idea?
I have some stories. Not anymore. Because they just randomly put it on the shelves. So you just got to show up and get lucky.
Any time of day.
Yeah. But I have waited from 5 to 10. So I've waited 5 hours in line before.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was it for?
Michter's 10. I didn't know what it was for the record, but that was what I got, was Michter's 10 bourbon. And it was almost worth it, because that was a killer pour that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I got your little sample from you right back there on that one.
I got it right here.
Yeah. So for me, I'm very close, actually. So 3 hours and 30 minutes is my own personal, like, absolute limit. And the only way I'm waiting 3 hours and 30 minutes for something is if I'm going to hang out with some buddies in line. Maybe somebody brings a little something to drink while we're in line. Yeah. I don't even remember what I got. Some fries event, and that's the longest I've ever waited. I don't remember what I got. I'm sure I just got like Stag and Blanton something and whatever, Weller, Foolproof, and whatever else. But that was it. That was the longest. It was probably, I mean, you call it a turnaround point in my life of like, okay, that was nice to hang out with friends and all, but that's probably the longest I'm ever going to wait in line for something anymore. So I'm on the order of about 3.5 hours, but we want to hear from you. What's the longest you've 100%. Ever waited in line for something? And also, of course, please tell us what it was. What did you wait in line for? Because if I remember correctly, when you waited in line, you ended up getting that Michter's. What was on the list? There was some insane stuff on. There was a Mr. Sam on there.
No, there was a potential Mr. Sam.
Well, that's what I mean. Sorry. Yeah. The list of what Virginia stores could possibly have included Mr. Sam. So there was the hope that your store might have a Mr. Sam.
And I hope that our love of spirits lifted your whiskey. Yeah.
Man, you did the after the previous episode with the live read. After the live read, you did the super twangy one that was like,
that's the after commercial music.
Oh God, it's so perfect.
So next week we're going to be drinking something very special. We're going to be drinking samples from a cool new company called Hogshead. And they are a company that basically just stacks these barrels of amazing things. And they're basically like not an independent bottler, but they're a company that sells barrels that they bought from other distilleries, including, but not limited to, Buffalo Trace.
Ooh.
So they're putting out some crazy stuff, and they have some older age. And one of the samples they brought us, one is we don't even know what it is, but one is a 9+ years. How many years was it? MGP 95.5 rye.
Here it is, right here. 2016 MGP 95.5 rye at 119 proof. He's got a little, I don't know if it's a barrel code on there. 16025. Maybe he'll be able to tell us more about that.
Must be the barrel name. Yeah.
But the other sample,
unknown. It's just got a blue label on it.
Dude, blue tape. Is this the first podcast guest who's ever sent us a blind sample before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so this guy's name's Bo. He's one of the co-founders of Hogshead. So we're excited to have him on, and we're excited for him to tell us what's in the blue bottle.
Dude, I hope if he here's my first hope. If he hops on and he's like, oh, I forgot to label that. Hold on, let me tell you what it is. I'm going to be like, no. I'm going to be like, don't tell us what it is. I'm just going to drink it and then figure out how much we like it.
Blind it.
How much we'd pay for it, blah, 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 blah. And then he can tell us what it is. So I hope all of that plays out well.
Yeah. No, I hope once again I can spank you in the re-entry buzz after this because I am behind. And if you win this next episode, you win the season.
One more. Well, I hope I win one more, and I hope my good boy, my buddy boy Lupin does all right. So got to throw in the Lupin.
Makes a full recovery and lives till he's 18. Yeah. But most of all, listeners, viewers, friends, we hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. Can't wait to spank you.
Can't wait to spank you.